Hi guys, today in class we worked on writing equations from word problems and tables. So if you go to T2 week 3 and you click on 11.5, okay, it opens up and there's a Pear Deck to click and join. Okay, it takes you here. Since it is in student paced mode, you can work on slides 2 and 3. Okay, so this is the first slide you should have been seeing. You had 5 minutes in class to complete slide 2 and 3. Slides 2 and 3 were questions from Unit 2, question number 7 and 8. Okay, you can go ahead and press pause right now and try to do the 2 questions before you see what the answers are, and then come back and check. So for question 7, it wanted a graph that was a function. So if you notice on each picture, I drew a vertical line. Okay, if it touches my picture that's already on there more than one time, then that means it is not a function. So you notice how my circle touches the red line twice. That means that 2 is repeating wherever we draw our line, right? 2 is my x. It's repeating on the top and the bottom. Okay, for answer choice B, it was just a vertical line, so that means it's repeating multiple times on all of these numbers. Okay, for answer choice C, my curve touched the vertical line twice at the top and then at the bottom, so the one that is the function was answer choice D, because if I draw a vertical line, that orange curve only touches the vertical line one time. Okay, so if we look at the next question, remember function x cannot repeat, right? So we want something that is not a function. So that means we want the x to be repeating, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are all different. F is a function. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, those are all different. That is a function. 0, 2, 3, 2, there's already a repeat, 2 and 2. H is not a function. Okay. Okay, so slide 4 is our checklist for today. We're going to write write equations, from word problems and tables. If you notice, we have already worked on some of these steps before. Okay, word problems are going to be kind of new to us because we haven't learned slope words yet. But if you notice over here on the table side, determine slope, we've found slope from 2 points. A table just gives us more than 2 points. So we pick the 2 points we want to use. Finding our B is going to be a little bit different. There's 3 different ways we can do it. But if you notice step 4, okay, and step 3 on this side is to write an equation in y equals mx plus b format. So once we know what our m is and what our b is, we can write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so go ahead and get your journal to take some notes. You can press pause, go get your journal, and then come back. The title for today is going to be Writing Equations from Word Problem and Tables. Okay, so if you notice, I kind of split up my page into a word problem side and a table side. We're going to talk first about the word problems. So I started with our equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Remember, m is our slope, and we circle it. B is our y-intercept, and we box it. Okay, so in a word problem, slope is the number that repeats. Okay, some words that indicate repeating or repetition is per. So per day, per week, per month. Each day, each year, each period. Every minute, every day, every hour, every month, right? And then rate. You rate per hour, rate per day, rate per second, okay? And then the y-intercept is the number that happens one time or once. Some things that they might be called are the initial value, the start, our starting point, right? Because we always start with the b, or the beginning. Okay, so if you notice, all I did was write our checklist from the Pear Deck. Okay, so that way you can have it as reference. Our first step is to identify the slope word. Okay, so you will see per, each, every, or rate in your word problem. When you find that word, put an X on it. Okay, the number that's to the left or to the right of it, we're going to circle that number, and that's going to become our slope number. The other number in our word problem will be the y-intercept, so we'll put a box on that one. And then once we have a slope and an intercept, we will fill them in our equation for m and b. Okay, when we're given tables of information, right, it's just an organized way to represent multiple points. Okay, so I drew one horizontally. It looks like it's laying down sideways. Remember, x is on top, y is on the bottom. And then I drew one vertically. X is on the left, y is on the right. Okay, so when we're given a table and they tell us to write an equation, if x is equal to 0, all we're going to do is find our b. Okay, so that means if the table is laying sideways and x is 0, whatever number is with y or whatever number is with it, that is automatically going to be your b. And I like to do this, even though it's not a capital B in the equation, I like to do this. So if you find 0 on the x, I like to do this so you know that you're using whatever number is right there. I just put a b because it can be any number, a lowercase b. So whatever number your y is, that's automatically going to be your y-intercept. Okay, so on a vertical table, once you find 0 on the x, right, I like to do this, make a lowercase b. So that way you know that you're using that number that's in your y column. Okay, so anytime x is equal to 0, you're just going to find the b. If you cannot find the b on there, you're going to work backwards using your table, or you're going to solve it algebraically using y equals mx plus b, because we're going to have a y from the table. We're going to already have worked out our slope. We're going to have an x from the table, so the only letter we would be solving for is the b. Okay, so if you notice our checklist for this one, step 1 we know how to do. Determine the slope, right? Remember we use the slope formula, y's on top, x is on the bottom. Okay, once we solve for this, we get our m. So we will know what this is right here. We'll know our m. We would still need to find the b some type of way, right? There's 3 different ways to solve for b. We either find it on the table when x is 0, we can work backwards to try to find when x is 0, or we can use algebra to help us solve for b. Okay, but remember our ultimate goal is to write an equation in this format, y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to go back to the Pear Deck and do a few examples, and you should be set to go. Okay, so our first example is when we are given a table that has x equals 0. Okay, so if I go to my table, I can see that x equals 0 is right here. Okay, remember x is on top, y is on the bottom. Okay, so whatever I have right here, right, should have made that look a little nicer. Remember, this is automatically going to be my b. So 32 is my b. So I'm going to go fill that in. Okay, So slope, I'm going to pick 2 points to use and use my formula. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to use this point. Okay, so I circled in green the 2 points I'm going to use. So if I use my slope formula, I'm going to do 39. Okay, why is that happening? Okay, I'm going to do 39 minus 32 on the top, because those are both of my x's. Because I started with 39, I have to start with 1 on the bottom. 1 minus 0. Okay, on the top, 39 minus 32 is 7. 1 minus 0 is 1. So I know that my slope is 7. Okay, so once we have our m and our b, we can write our equation. Y equals 7x plus 32. Okay, so now we're given a table where 0 cannot be found in the x column. Okay, so I cannot find 0 in the x column. So what I'm going to do now is find slope, regardless of whichever way you choose. If you choose to work backwards or to use your equation, you still have to find slope first. So I'm going to use the points 110 and 324. Notice how both tables are the same. I put 2 of them on there so we can work backwards on one and use the equation on the other. Okay, so I'm going to set up for my slope. I'm going to do 24 minus 10 on the top. And then I'm going to do 3 minus 1 on the bottom. On the top, I get 14 divided by 2. So my slope is 7. It's going to just wait there because all I know is my slope so far. Okay, so what this means is that each year, the height of the tree is growing by 7 feet. Okay, so if we choose to work backwards, we want to know when x is 0, right? So if it starts at 1 and I'm working backwards to 0, right? If we're going this way, it's adding 7 every time, right? So if we go backwards, then it needs to subtract 7. So if I do 10 minus 7, I know at 0 years, it was already 3 feet tall. So here's my B. Okay, that's if you choose to work backwards. You do opposite operation of whatever your slope is. Okay, if you're going to use y equals mx plus b, you use an x, you use a y, and you use your m. Instead of y, I'm going to say 10 is equal to, instead of m, I'm going to say 7, times, instead of x, I'm going to say 1, plus b. If we simplify this, we get 10 is equal to 7 plus b. Remember, we do opposite operation, so I'm going to do minus 7 on both sides. And you see how b is equal to 3. Okay, so then once I have my b is 3, I'm going to go write my equation. So then we have y is equal to, my slope was 7x plus 3. Okay, so on word problems, when we're given word problems, we need to identify the slope word, which is per. We put an X on top of it. The number that's to the left or right of it, we circle it, that's our slope number. The other number that's left, we put a box, that is our y-intercept. Once we have our m and our b, we can write our equation in this format. Okay, so we say y is equal to, my slope was 276, forget the x, plus 2,311. And we're done with that one. Next one, slope word is per, circle the 250, but this one is decreasing. So my slope is going to be negative. 1,600 will be my intercept. Y is equal to negative 250x plus 1,600. Okay, so you've got an example of each type. Go ahead and go complete the rest of these slides. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you.